Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel once again. You may feel that what is going on, like why I am starting this video today. So usually Dada takes this place and he asks me a lot of questions and I answer all those questions sitting here. But today is different. I'm going to ask a lot of questions to Dada and he's going to answer me, of course. And the questions I'm going to ask relate to readings, books and some of the other questions. So I literally don't know how am I going to do it because I'm feeling so nervous. Now I can realize that how tough is it to host a particular video. Like every single time I just come here, I just answer and I feel like yes, I've done something. But when I'm here asking about some of the questions, I'm feeling like what is going on? Definitely I'll not try to be nervous because I am a learner and I can make mistakes. So forgive me if I'm making a lot of mistakes as a host. So as we were discussing that today we are going to talk about readings, books and all of the things. So my first question for you is that you are an avid reader. All of us we know, like all of your students know it very well. So what are the books you are reading currently?
Well, I'm reading a lot of books currently, and that's the dangerous part, because whenever I think about the books I'm reading, sometimes I'm not able to remember because that many books I'm reading simultaneously. So yeah, I'm reading everything, and I'm rereading a lot of books that I probably have read twice, thrice, because these books worth repeating.
So thank you so much for sharing this. So you've just shared that you're rereading a lot of books. So could you please tell us why is it so important to go through a book again and again and again and again?
You said that I am an avid reader. I consider myself to be an avid reader, but there is also a difference becoming an avid reader and an effective reader, right? An avid reader is who reads 4 books a month. On social media you see that, I finished 4 books a month, 5 books a month, 50 books a year, 100 books a year. And you see a lot of thumbnails like that on YouTube that they're reading books and people are watching those videos. Fast reading is one of those popular things, which I don't buy, which I don't appreciate at all. Because effective reading is this. Like let's talk about how to win friends and influence people. I have made 4 videos. I will just give the links in the description, guys. I have made 4 videos on 4 chapters from this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Have you read this book?
Yeah, I started. The same problem suffering.
Yeah, so the point is that why am I asking whether you have read this book or not? Because this book is something that you should read again and again and again. Because what is the title? How to Win Friends and Influence People. Like, can one time reading be sufficient to understand and apply the principles that are there in this book? Absolutely not. When I read that book for the first time, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, it is a literature and literary self-help book. A lot of people don't understand that book. When I bought this book, I was having a lot of difficulty to finish a single chapter. But when I read that book, when I finished all the chapters, and the first copy, I have given that book away to one of my students, and every year I do that. that all my read books I literally donate. I do the charity over those books. And every time I buy a new copy of the same book that I've already read for 5 times, makes me feel really good. So yes, I reread books, those who deserve repeated reading. And like How to Win Friends and Influence People, Ikigai, these are the books people will agree with me that yes, you have to reread them. Like there is another book, I get back to it again and again and again and again. It is The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale, Wings of Fire. So absolutely, I reread these books.
Yeah, so as you've just mentioned that the first fast reading trend is just going on. So do you support it?
Yeah, as I said, no, I don't buy this thing. I don't support it at all because there is a reason. The reason is that fast reading comes from the notion fast reading, I have to read fast so that I can read more books. Quantity wise, you are successful. Quality wise, you are still a stupid. So, of course, I support fast reading if you have the intention of learning things from books. Otherwise, I don't support fast reading.
Like it's a trap, we can say, can we?
It's a trap for the people, those who do not understand the reason behind fast reading. Let's say you want to really understand about money and you are going to read all, because you have no idea about money, so you are going to read all the books on money and you want to understand. So it's good. You develop that fast reading. Or maybe you have, let's say, an exam coming and you want, and not exam coming, but you are very serious about reading and information on all these stuffs, and you read everything. You read philosophy, history, geography, you read everything because you read out of curiosity. So definitely fast reading is important there, but don't read faster because you have to compete with others. That's the thing we need to remember. And I did that and I still regret. So I don't do this things these days. I read and I discuss, that. So when I read, I will be talking about that when you ask me these questions.
So what do you think? Those who do the fast reading, what kind of problems they go through?
Like, okay, you are buying a book. Let's say the name of the book is Eat That Frog. You want to read. You and I have read this book, so we can talk about that. Eat That Frog is the masterpiece if someone wants to master discipline.
Definitely.
But you want to read faster this book because you want to show to the people or make a book review, and you have made a video, and when you have no idea, you have not developed any time management skill in your life. What's the point? Reading faster makes you arrogant. But when you read slowly, what happens? You basically understand things that you need to apply in your life, like implement in your life. Now here, there are two things that we need to remember. Are we reading self-help when we're trying to read faster, or other genre? When you are reading self-help book, I think fast reading is not recommended because there are so many principles that you want to apply in your life. So if you read faster, you won't understand the depth of those lines because you need some time for yourselves to explore those lines and chapters when you are reading a self-help book. So fast reading is not recommended for self-help books. And you can read like a Chetan Bhagat novel or John Green novels very faster. Yeah, because you are enjoying it. It's a form of entertainment.
Even today, when I was just trying to practice on this particular thing, I was thinking of the same, and suddenly I thought that some of the books are there, those who are really thought-provoking. You need to spend some time with each and every sentences. As if just talk about how to win friends and influence people. When I was reading that book, I was thinking that, I cannot finish this one. I literally cannot say, okay, I've just read it within 2 to 3 days. I cannot do it. This book doesn't deserve to be finished so earlier. So absolutely, you need to spend some time. You need to think for the whole day with a particular sentence. So absolutely. So the main question for today's video is that most of us, we start reading, but what happens? We can't finish a book. What happens? Maybe in the middle of the journey of reading, we literally get demotivated. We feel like giving up and we give up. So what do you want to say here? Why? Let's talk about the problem first. Why are you not able to finish a book?
Look, I I'm a kind of a person who loves to take responsibility of all my faults and the mistakes that I make. Okay. So if I'm not able to finish a book, first of all, I would like to say that yes, it's my problem that I'm not able to focus on reading for an extended period of time. But at the same time, it is also a fact that, a book has similar responsibility to hold your attention. Like you are reading a damn boring book, different from your interest. How can you finish that book? Sometimes it happens, like you are reading probably a children's book. You read a book, Goosebumps. You couldn't hold yourself from finishing it. Why? Because that book is pretty interesting.
Yes.
But if I ask you to read, let's say I'm giving you a book on psychology or philosophy, and I want you to finish that book like in 1 month, maybe it is going to be difficult. Though philosophy books should be read slowly, but at the same time, we have to finish that book, but we are not able to finish. Why? Because it is different from your interest. So these days, reading is a very unpopular thing. And if you give me 5 options in my free time, and reading is one of them, it is the last thing that I would pick up. Because books are the things that when you read, you actually do something. It is an active activity. You read, you have to think. And it is science that we don't want to think. We want others to think for ourselves. And our technology does that for us. And that's why reading is something that is everybody's individual thing. And for that reason, everything in the beginning feels awesome. You see that first 30 pages you read very faster, and the last 170 pages takes years. It happens to everybody. So it happens because that's the thing, like there are a lot of distractions, and for that reason I think we are not able to finish the books.
So I literally have to hire this thing that you've just shared. Sometimes it becomes excruciating that we don't get the interest. For that reason we feel like not reading it, or for that reason we don't feel like going with it on and on. So don't you think that it's very controversial? Because some people out there may say that no, like you have to explore everything. You have to have your interest on each and every genres so that you can explore more. Like those who love to read, or those who love to invent things, those who love to experiment things. Like I'm trying to say is that people may say that you have to know everything because in order to take part in it. So how can you say that I don't have the interest in that particular genre, so how I shouldn't read that particular book?
Okay.
So
reading is a challenge these days, but just go and pick up a book and start reading could be my suggestion. But handful people these days, very countable and selective people read. So this particular question is, it is a very valuable question that I definitely think that we should read everything. You don't know where you feel that interest. So I read everything, and when you read everything, then you have a varieties in your reading. So you have options, and you feel good about yourself, your reading habit.
So as we were there that we are not able to finish book, now I'd like to come to the point that what are the things should be done in order to finish a book? What can we do?
Well, there could be a lot of practical solutions that people can get on YouTube, and I think we can't do better than those who have already made a lot of videos. You just go out there and search that how can I finish a book, then you will get millions of videos out there showing that yes, these are the techniques you follow and you finish a book by the deadline. Definitely you can do that. The problem is we are not determined. We are distracted, and we are not ready to admit it. Like today maybe I'm feeling like watching a movie, and I'm watching, that's okay. Then I'm doing other things, then I'm doing other things, and at the end of the day I reflect the entire day and I feel like, oh, I haven't read any book. And next day I feel like, okay, I promised myself I will definitely read tomorrow. And the tomorrow is the same. So we are not determined. We are not ready to admit that we are weak. We have already lost our willpower. So that's the problem, Once you are a disciplined person, then it is not the question that how long or how much you should read. First, we need to understand how can I make myself determined towards reading. Once it is done, you will be reading hundreds of books. No problem. And you will be reading every day. So I always say that read 15 minutes, you will be reading whole your life. Yeah. Reading is good, I think. Reading is, as I said, active form of activity which actually helps us to think in such a way that makes us feel that we are pretty mature, we have rational thinking. It helps, yeah.
Definitely. Like first, we need to get out of the zone of procrastination.
Point is that consistency matters and acceptance. Acceptance is very important. That I don't read. I'm not disciplined. In my class, I always ask my students that, what are you doing these days? So they say, I'm preparing for this. I always want honest answer from them. So I say, please tell me that this quoted line that I am wasting time these days.
Yes.
That is the truth. The moment you say the truth, then you get aware. Oh, really? I'm wasting my time. Oh, I have to do something about it. So acceptance that you are wasting your time. You're not reading. I'm not reading. So I'm not reading. I have to start reading. I have to read every single day, 15 minutes at least. That's the solution.
I think there is a common allegation all of us we have that I'm getting distracted. We never say that I am who is
I'm distracting myself.
Yes, definitely. Like this is not a thing which is the cause of the distraction, but I am getting distracted. So if I simply leave that particular thing, I can be the patience, or not about patience, I can have the attention into that thing. Absolutely. So yes, anything more?
Like pushing away responsibility can't help us. We have to admit that, as you said, that we distract ourselves. Oh, I have to stay away from mobile phone. This is one of the stupidest lines that I've ever heard. Like I always find myself saying this. I want to, stay away from my phone. But the logical part of this particular thing is that I can't. My phone helps me a lot. Like I have bought all the books with the help of my phone, right? So the point is that whenever it comes to confessing where we are wrong, we always try to blame either other things or any people. So that's the reason we have to take the responsibility and start working on that. Then I think problems can be solved.
Yes. And I think one more thing happens that when we start doing particular thing, we revolve around the motivation zone. Even today, when I just got back home from this class, I was thinking, yes, like as I'll just get done with all my works, I'll sit down to read and I will definitely finish a chapter. But after some time, I found myself scrolling mobile. So absolutely, it's a lie we are telling to ourselves every single moment. I'm not doing this, I'm not procrastinating, I'm not dodging. But at the end of the day, if you see the results, the chart of result, empty.
Like let's say you start a book on the first day of the month and you have a plan. Okay, if I read this book every day, 30 days of this month, definitely by the end of this month this book will be finished. And on 30th or 31st or I don't know, like 29th or 28th, you reach that date and you realize, oh my god, I've been able to read only 40 pages.
Yes.
So here the solution comes, and I think it's a nice solution. Robin Sharma says that we are busy being busy. And I don't know whether people are able to understand the depth of this particular quotation. Sometimes we say, I'm busy, but that doesn't mean I'm productive. So it is a nice thing. When I read that line in his book, and he also shared that in his YouTube video, that really resonated with me. I understood that, yes, we always say, we are busy. I don't have time to read. And if you check your digital well-being, you see that, oh my God, today I have spent 7 hours on phone. And maybe 2 hours solid that I spent for some work, and the rest of the hours I spent for entertainment. And I'm saying that I didn't have time to read any page from the books. So the point that we need to understand here is that it is the habit tracking, or not habit tracking, but growth tracking, I would say. Every single day, at the end of the day, I do that. How many pages I have read from this book. If we start doing that, then after 7 days we can say, okay, today, like after 7 days, like in a week, I have read substantial amount of reading. I've done substantial amount of reading. So I'll be able to read. I'll be able to finish this book by the end of this month. We get very aware at the end of the month. So the kind of awareness we had when we started, we sort of forget in the middle of the month. Towards the end of this month, suddenly we start thinking, oh my God, yeah, I took a resolution in the beginning. Now the book is there in the shelf, or maybe you are not able to find that book. It happens. Like it used to happen to me. I'm reading a lot of books, guys, but I know how to read, how to read books. Basically, this is a nice thing. There are genres, right? Basically self-help and fiction. So we confuse self-help with fiction. We often read self-help like fiction and fiction like self-help. But we need to understand that fiction books should be read like they should be read. Fiction books are the books that you have to start from the page 1. After reading 20 pages, if you feel like if you feel like continuing, then continue the book, finish the book, otherwise just put it away. On the other hand, let's say you have bought a self-help book, and that is Eat That Frog. First, go through the contents. And if you like 1st, 4th, 7th and 10th content, these chapters, read those chapters first, and then you can go through the other chapters. I think I also do that. I've got this solution from one of the famous authors, Mark Manson. He once shared this on his channel. And I applied it in my life. Because I had the regret, before, when I was not able to finish the books. I used to feel, I started this book, but, in the middle of the book, I feel like on chapter number 3, I feel, oh my God, I don't feel like reading this book. So I used to punish myself a lot. But then when I heard him, he's an author, so he had read more books than me. So then I understood that, okay, this is the problem where I'm making this mistake. Like, I should not feel regret, because self-help books should be read the way I was never taught. I was never taught that how to read self-help books. So I had to find myself that how to read self-help books. So if you are reading, let's say, Harry Potter, read from page 1 to last page. But if you're reading any self-help book, just go through the content, table of contents first. The contents the chapters that really resonate with you, just start those chapters and find out the lesson from those chapters, apply those things in your life, change your life. Because the main purpose of reading self-help book is that you want some changes in your life. So that's the thing.
Wow. Like, I can simply say one thing is that from today's conversation, I've learned one thing is that I am not going to let a book unfinished, because this could harm me in future. Like, I'm just simply I'm reading a book, and if I am letting that book unfinished, then I'm making my mind empty. I'm not simply feeding my mind anything healthy. I'm always scrolling mobile, I'm putting junks, but at the same time, it's really important to put some healthy things. So, one more thing I'm just thinking of asking you that you see the trend of buying books nowadays? Like, whenever we get some sales in Big Billion, whenever we get some sale in online stores, we just go and jump upon buying books. We are just simply, even I experienced it. Like, I used to buy a lot of books, but somewhere it becomes a trap. We buy a lot of books, but what about reading? What do you think about it?
If I talk about myself, I would like to start with myself because I don't know any other people out there, but I know myself better that ever since I started buying books online, I realized one thing, that I'm buying more than reading. And it's a problem basically, because there was a time when I used to go to the library and bookshops, and then I used to buy books and I used to read and rent and borrow some books. But these days the these days the best thing about having internet in our phone is that we are buying books whenever we want, right? So that's a nice thing, that you buy all the books that you feel are important for you. But at the same time, reading is important. If we don't read all the books, then there is no point of buying those books. But sometimes we make ourselves fool by saying, I think I will be reading. When if I look at my shelves, then I see, oh my God, like more books are unread than the books that I've read. So definitely the thing is this, like when you develop this habit, but shopping habit is this, shopping habit meaning that we start shopping when we have money, and we have developed kind of addiction towards buying a specific thing. For some people it could be gadgets, for some people it could be dresses, for some people it could be food. For some people and for us, and when we are talking about books, it's books. Like you see that, okay, new book is going to come out, so you're gonna just purchase it or pre-order it. Because there is another thing that, okay, I want to get the signed copy. I had this kind of notion that I always wanted to get this signed copy. But I never, later on I understood that it's the same book. It's the same book, right? I have to read it. So these are the childish things that I had. But, with time you understand a lot of things. And I have understood a lot of things about reading, that if I compare myself, the version I am right now to the version in 2012 or 13, I didn't have smartphone. I used to go to the library and bookstore. I used to have very little money, and because at that point of time I was in college, so I didn't have money. So I used to buy books, saving my money, and that time mostly I used to buy Bengali books. And so now I'm buying English books, and due to internet I get to know a lot of people, those who are talking about different books and their benefits, when I have the similar books on my bookshelves, but I'm not reading. So it is a problem, having more books creates a lot of apprehension in your brain, and sometimes you feel like, oh, you are more worried than relaxed. So you're not going to read, but you are going to worry a lot because you have a lot of unread books on your shelf. And when you look at them and you feel like, I think I have to finish them. I have to finish them. So every time, and when you have developed, like at your fingertips, you get all the things done. Like you, within 10 seconds, your books are ordered.
Yeah.
So it's that easy. So if you want my solution, uninstall Amazon and Flipkart from your phone. All right, where you are buying books from. So it is a good solution. So I have basically gotten rid of the habit of using Facebook by uninstalling it every time I'm done with Facebook. So whenever I need to log in, I install it and then I log in. So do it whenever you need something. Just it's a pretty tough job. Like every time you are installing it, this is how you can stay away from book shopping addiction. Yes.
Definitely. Like As I was just listening to you, I was thinking only one thing is that I need to sit down with myself to think of it. Because as I'm getting those suggestions, it is not that I'll just take the decision. If you are not deciding on your own, if you're not sitting down with yourself to make the decision, I think it will be later a regretfulness. So here I would like to ask you another crucial thing could be, nowadays if you see children, they're addicted with smartphone more than we do. Because every single moment, it could be doing online classes, it could be watching anything. Even I have one of my sisters, when I asked her that why are you just showing your mobile to your son, she was saying that my son doesn't eat anything whenever I don't give the mobile. So do you think that it's really, really important and crucial exactly in this era that we should show books, the habit of reading to our children?
Yeah, that's what I have written down. Parents are responsible towards encouraging children into the reading world, right? It's like, I think reading is an active task, right? So if parents do not have that habit, if children's growing up don't see that parents are reading books, then how they can develop it?
Yes.
Right? So it's the parents' responsibility. Let's say, I have some like niece, nephews. So when they visit my home, they see only one thing. That is books. That, my maternal uncle or my uncle reads all the time. Or you go there, you get varieties of books. So, and I know, and this is how they develop this habit. You need a person who can at least introduce something to you and you carry on that. So that's the thing, these days, what as you mentioned, that children are more addicted towards smartphone than books. Smartphones are fascinating, right? Smartphones are more fascinating than books. Why should they read books? I have this question. They will not read books if that environment is not there. If the environment is there, if somebody is actually showing the good sides of reading, then definitely children will read. So I think it is more of parents' responsibility than just saying that okay, they are not reading. They will read. Like when a child is born, that child doesn't know the benefits of reading until and unless that child starts reading. So where does he or she get the inspiration? Or the benefits of reading, if it is discussed at school, then definitely a lot of students will be like, I have a student, you also did a class with him, Konjo.
Yes.
Konjo reads a lot. He finishes a book in just 4 or 5 days. And he is 11 years old boy, 12 years old boy. How can he do that? And we always think like, oh, reading is a very burdensome thing. We are very afraid of reading.
Yes.
Why? Because reading has not been portrayed as a fun thing by teachers. It is part school's job also. Like the teachers appointed at school, definitely they have this responsibility to make it more interesting for the students. So that besides the academic books, the other books are available. Most of the students, even not students, but children, they don't know that these books are available. So where do they get the introduction? From the parents, adults, people around them. So if senior people have this kind of tendency, putting their head into phones all the time, making reels, look, I'm not against them, but I'm saying when it is about reading, then it is our responsibility. Our child learns from the society, from his atmosphere. So if there is nobody reading in that atmosphere, where will he or she get the opportunity? Right? Probably 1 in a million finds out himself or herself. But we shouldn't go with the minority or exception. We have to see the majority, and then we can get to a particular conclusion. So I think it is our responsibility. I think it is my responsibility. If I have kids at home, it is my responsibility to actually make them interested and introduce them with the books that are available in the market. So that's the thing. And as I always say, that whenever a parent is buying anything, clothes or accessories, anything else, their children, it is their responsibility to buy a book at the same time. Like, okay, books are also the things that we should buy every month. There should be a rule like that. Then I think it is going to be very easy for the parents, both parents and children, to continue reading. And for adults, they must start first.
Definitely. Like, through your thought, suddenly a thing has just come to me, is that if you want a beautiful smell in your room, you have to spread the fragrance. Otherwise, it is not going to be happen on its own. So definitely, I do agree with it. Like, it's amazing. Once again, I just have to say that you have to think about that particular thing. If you are thinking of just taking a decision, then you have to just sit down with it. Like, why is it important? You have to look around the whole society, what's going on currently. People are just getting addicted. Why they are not able to be patient? Why children are not able to sit down with their studies for at least 10 to 15 minutes? They're very, impatient. They're becoming impatient. So, yes. Is there anything else you just want to say?
I want to say something for our, viewers, and that is, read, guys. Reading is a nice activity. I call it an activity. I never say it is a hobby or something like that. I always call it an activity. Plenty of things you are doing, and reading is like that. Like, you are also taking out some time, but it is an active activity. Sometimes when you are reading a book in your own language, you don't need a dictionary. You can understand easily. But when you are reading a book, let's say in a foreign language like English, then you need a dictionary. And the basic problem we have with reading is that whenever we get an unknown word, we open a dictionary and start finding the word and its meaning. So let's say in a paragraph you find 5 different new words, and five every single time, each time you're opening up your dictionary and you're finding out the word. So you get tired, and when it happens, then you feel like, oh, reading is very excruciating, very painstaking job. But the point is that you don't read the whole paragraph first, then try to understand what the author is conveying basically through that paragraph. You have understood it? Alright, underline all the unknown words. After you finish reading, just open your dictionary, search all those words, jot those words down in your diary so that you can apply them next time, or you can revisit them or review them. Make sure that you are not going to face any problem in future. So actually, how to read, like we are always taught at school how to read academic books. But besides academic books, there are books like Sapiens and so many other books out there. If like Eat That Frog, we did some videos, but these videos are not available on my channel. So we'll be doing another fresh video, of a long video on that. So yeah, so as we were saying, like Eat That Frog, like Sapiens, these are the books that we should promote, right? And schools are the place where students can get the opportunity, the introduction of the books. And then, yeah, how to read a book definitely should be taught by teachers. So, yes, I think that's the thing.
Yeah. So, thank you so much, Dada. Like, guys, I hope that you may get some important points or throughout discussion. Like, we have discussed so many things, we have touched so many points. If you are interested in this sort of topics, like, do comment that we are liking it. So I hope that we'll be able to do those sort of things in future too, as we have done in past. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you have just come to this point, I would say congratulations, because nowadays people are not patient to just watch a whole video. So thank you so much. If you do like, then don't forget to like and subscribe if you are new here. That's it for today. Thank you.